Hi, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about staying calm while you're under contract. We're going to talk about managing your stress and resetting your nervous system with my good friend, Leanne Rafton. She is an intuitive real estate agent, and I'm so excited that she agreed to talk to me today. So, Leanne, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and about your background and what led you to become an intuitive real estate agent?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I Before I was in real estate, I was a veterinary technician for 10 years and definitely got to the point of burnout um, and needed a change. So I decided to go full time into real estate about 4 years ago now. And
Awesome.
because I knew that feeling of burnout and a very unregulated nervous system, a lot of anxiety, I knew that I needed to make a change in my life. And I didn't want to go into another job that would have that same effect, which I know can happen. And it is a whole different thing working for yourself, being self employed. And there's a lot of talk about hustle and grind and competition, and I didn't want to do that. So I did a lot of work on myself,
Mm.
first and foremost, a lot of therapy, experimenting with different modalities, getting sober. And then I found what worked for me in my personal life. And then I incorporated that into also being a real estate agent and how I could keep my stress low and my nervous system regulated in this environment.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that's definitely something that we all get into real estate because we want freedom and we want, to have flexibility and to enjoy a topic that we all love. And then a lot of us get into it and realize, oh my gosh, this is really hard to manage. We're so stressed out. And sometimes we don't even realize how stressed out we are. My question for you is this word intuitive real estate agent. What does that mean? Can you explain that?
Absolutely. I'll tell you what it means for me and why I've
Okay.
chosen to label myself that way. Um, I think we live in a society that really encourages people to only think with their mind. And this leads us down a path of overthinking, stress, anxiety, obsessing over what we've done in the past, what we're going to do in the future.
Mhm.
Um, and again, I didn't want to live that way because I had known that way of life.
Mhm.
And so I've really worked hard on not thinking as much with my head and thinking more with my heart, my gut, my body. This is what a lot of people have heard of, your gut instinct, listening to your gut. And I think we can all relate to a time where we might have overridden a gut instinct because something else made more sense in our head. And then we looked back and realized, like, oh, I did have that little split of a gut instinct.
Yeah.
So the way I incorporate that into real estate is obviously I have the background, the knowledge, the experience of the current market and the real estate transaction.
Mhm.
But I try to really listen to my gut and my body when I'm working with clients, when I'm touring houses, when I'm coming up against a challenge, not obsessing and overthinking and what could I have done differently, but just sitting a lot of times in silence with my eyes closed really helps me drop from the head down into the heart, the gut, wherever you relate to more. And if they're open to it, I encourage my clients to do the same.
Mm.
I really try to get them out of that fight or flight stress kind of state and just what feels right for you.
Have you ever, experienced, I guess, what would be some of the biggest stressors you face as a real estate agent?
Yeah. And it's trial and error. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
definitely not doing this fluidly and perfectly. Um, and it was a lot harder in the beginning. Just not being as experienced and not having the confidence made it a lot harder, where I was doubting myself a lot.
Mhm.
And one specific example that pops in my head, it's actually still my largest transaction. Um, in the 800,000, maybe 825 it closed at, but it was about to fall apart and over an appraisal, which I think everyone's been there. And I was devastated because that's huge for me, for the client. And I was just distraught over what should I have done differently.
Mm.
And that just, I just believe that that thinking gets us nowhere.
Mhm.
Um, And what helped me in that situation is I took a pause and I refer to it as zooming out because I don't know any other word for it. So
Okay.
basically like taking myself out of that situation or even thinking of it literally as like a bird's eye view over the situation and thinking, does this really, how much does this impact my life in 6 months? Whether it closes or not, I mean, it was a huge amount of money for me. It definitely would have impacted me a lot, but I still had a house. I still could pay my bills. Um, and just knowing that I was going to be okay, whichever way it went. Um,
Mhm.
and then the other thing is, I truly believe that those are the transactions that we learn the most from that actually make us better agents. As much as everyone wants a smooth, easy deal, it's
Mhm.
having those challenges is when you learn. Maybe I didn't even necessarily do anything wrong, but something that I could have prepared for or been ready for, in future transactions. So just that mindset that everything we go through is here to make us grow and help us learn.
Mhm. So, did that house close?
It did. I
Yay!
had to compromise a little bit of my commission. There was a lot of negotiations, but it did close.
That's awesome. So, I'm really glad. So, what others like? So, that's an example of a big stressor, things falling apart at the end. Right at the last minute, and an appraisal, in an inspection. What other things can really stress us out as real estate agents, or upset our nervous system, or get us to a point where we're not in a healthy state of mind? Any other
I think
examples?
it's possible. I mean, it depends on your system and what your triggers are. I think anything's possible. The clients getting stressed out, the other agents maybe not responding, um, things last minute like that would make them not qualify for their loan anymore, things like that.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of it just comes back to trust. I mean, so much of
Mhm.
these transactions are out of our control, right? And so just trusting that however it's meant to happen. I know that sounds really cheesy, but like it's going to happen however it's meant to, and there'll be another deal. Um, and just really making sure that you're in a good place. So much of it, I think, comes down to our mindset.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
a lot of these changes are small or internal or not real obvious, but then it changes our state, um, to where how we show up.
Right. And have you noticed that when you've zoomed out, changed your mindset, kind of detached from the outcome, and realize you can't control all these different pieces and parts, you can only, do the best you can. Have you noticed that affects your clients? Or
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
is the effect on your clients when you behave that way?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually just talked about this morning in the office, um, because there's a lot of uncertainty in our field these days. Changes with the market, changing changes with how we're going to get paid. And really, so much of it comes down to it's all energy. I mean, I truly believe everything's energy.
Mhm.
So, like, the energy we put out there is a lot of times the energy that we get back. So, when those clients are in that heightened, stressed out state, like, it's really important for us to stay as calm as we can. And I think if they see, I mean, even like fake it till you make it. Because if when we're calm and confident, then they start to believe that it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. 100%. What techniques do you use on a daily basis to handle your stress?
Yeah.
What things are you
Um,
doing?
the number one thing, non negotiable every single day, is meditation. First thing out of bed. Um, I think this might have even come from Bold, like master your morning, master your day. And to me, that doesn't mean business, that means my state and how I show up. So as soon as I get out of bed, I go to my designated meditation spot. It's important to not meditate in your bed because your bed is for sleeping and you'll likely fall back asleep. But that's really important before I check my phone, before I connect with anyone else outside of myself, is to just sit with myself. And that can be a lot of different things. I mean, I usually recommend people started with a guided meditation,
Mm-hmm.
but it can even be quiet reflection. It can be 5 minutes. It can be journaling. It can be deep breaths. It can even be like some movement if you do better with that versus sitting still. Um, but yeah, just getting your mind right in the morning and before you connect with any technology, emails, clients. I think that that's the most important thing. And then some other practices that have been really supportive for me have been the cold plunge. So, cold therapy to just really reset, can't think about anything else, boost dopamine, epinephrine, and then breath work. So, breath work is kind of a form of meditation, but it tends to be more intense, kind of controlled breathing, to where for me, you can't really think about anything else. It's natural that your thoughts wander during meditation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that they can't do it because it's supposed to be complete lack of thoughts coming in, and that's not it at all. It's really the observing of thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and the awareness. But breath work to me is just so quick and effective to change your state and just get that reset that we need when we're stressed.
So, meditation, cold plunge, and breath work.
Yes.
Meditation, you do it first thing in the morning. I know Ed has been in his meditation practice every day after lunch, like
Mhm.
midday, kind of like a reset. I am still working on getting myself in a habit of meditation. And I do agree 100%. I mean, I think this is all a process, right? It doesn't happen
Oh,
overnight.
absolutely. I've
Um,
fallen off several times.
and just kind of trying, not trying. There is no try. That's for bold. We can just talk in bold laws this whole time. So trying or intending to, get out of bed in on the right foot, um, taking a deep breath, maybe having a prayer practice, a meditation practice before you go to your phone. I mean, we've all heard this
Yeah,
over and over again, and some of us don't have the luxury to do that. Some people have kids dragging them out of
absolutely.
bed, or dogs, or things like that. But just finding that time where you can reset. And then you and I actually met at the cold plunge studio, which is phenomenal. And I will highly recommend that everyone try it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It gives you so much, just resets your nervous system, increases your dopamine, and then the somatic breathing that Leanne, um, you practice it and you teach it. And
Mhm.
I've been to a couple of your, uh, what would you call them? Seminars? No, workshops,
Sessions, workshops.
sessions. Um, they're incredible. Can you explain somatic breathing and a little bit about what you do? Because I have done it 3 times with you, and I absolutely love it. So I think
Yeah,
everyone should know about it and try
absolutely.
it for sure.
And I think it's important to say, like, these are not all of these are every day. So the way that I use it, and you find what works for you. I
Mhm.
mean, some people, like you said, don't have the luxury of a meditation at a consistent time every day. Take a deep breath before you take that first sip of coffee. Put your feet on the earth for 5 seconds, like journal for 10 minutes in the middle of the day. Figure out what works for you, because the best practice is the one that you're going to do.
Right.
You like beating yourself up over not meditating for an hour every single morning is counter effective. So
Hmm.
the meditation I do every day, the cold plunge I do 3 or 4 times a week. And
Hmm.
me personally, for the breath work, I try to do it once or twice a month. So
Okay.
they're all different. They all serve different purposes for me personally. The breathwork sessions I can do one-on-one or group sessions, and they tend to be it's an hour of breathing, about an hour and a half total. And the way it's designed is it's designed to kind of ramp up your nervous system in a very controlled and safe way to
Hmm.
clear out any stuck energy, stuck emotion, um, maybe traumas or things aren't wanting to look at inside of ourselves. So that tends to be a little bit of an intense practice. The first half, you're breathing kind of intensely. The music's loud. It's really a clearing out of what we no longer need. And then the second half is to bring us back, our nervous system back down. So that's very slow, very nurturing, very soothing. And then I'm kind of cueing you and talking to you the whole time. So you're very supported in the space. And yeah, it's really designed so that then the second part is really to think about what we want to bring back in and how we want to move forward in the world. So it's two very distinct sections of the session, where the first part is referred to as clearing and the second part is referred to as repatterning.
It's, I will tell you, I was a little nervous to try my first session, and it was absolutely incredible. I mean, the relaxation and the reset of your nervous system, which up till 6 months ago, I didn't know I actually needed to reset my nervous system. So that's like a whole new topic and concept for me. But you can actually feel yourself resetting. And to me, it's so much better than going and getting a massage, even. I mean, that's relaxing and it relaxes you, but this is like a whole nother level. And similarly with cold plunging, it's like a whole nother level. And I think, as real estate agents, we might need a whole nother level of
Yeah.
tools in our toolbox. Some of these things that we've done may not be working anymore. So, keeping an open mind and trying new things and exploring ways that you can take care of yourself, because this is not going to be just a calm, predictable, clock in, clock out, 9 to 5 career. This is an up and down, high emotion, a lot of people involved, a lot of outcomes we can't control. And, a lot of us struggle with those control issues, right?
Yeah.
And that can cause a lot of stress and anxiety, and it can make our nervous system really uneasy. And so, Leanne, where can someone do that with you if they wanted to try? You said you do private one-on-one sessions. Do you have?
Yeah.
Um, is there a contact that they can
Yeah.
contact you to see when your next session is?
Yeah. A couple options.
Hmm.
I My email is just my name, Leanne Rafton at Gmail.
Hmm.
Instagram, I always have updated events on my Instagram, same, just my name. And then I also have a link tree. So on the link tree site,
Nice,
all my group events are there. And then there is a scheduler for a private session as well.
nice.
So lots of options. I can do them in my space or yours. I can do them at people's houses. I just request there's no like interruptions, like kids or pets or whatnot. So
Awesome.
um, yeah, and it like you mentioned, it is, these practices are challenging, and that's by design. So it really is to change the way we're doing things. If you want to change the way you're showing up or how you feel internally, you have to get uncomfortable in the
Mhm.
cold or in the breath.
Mhm. Have you noticed that when as you're doing these practices and when you are doing them consistently, your performance in your job or your, ability to lead generate and do your job at the highest level changes? I mean, like how have you seen differences in yourself in relation to your real estate business?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I mentioned, everything's energy. So if
Mm,
you're showing up in a regulated state, then that's what you're going to attract. So,
mm,
um, and also just that not as much can throw you off of that alignment as well. So, um, there are practices, like I would say, like if I am stressed in the moment, I can do a little short session of breath work or get in the cold to just get that reset in the moment.
mhm,
But I don't want to only do it as needed, that it's that daily meditation that really sets my system at a level state to where I can not get knocked off as much. And then, yeah, I think everything you attract then is different. Your
mhm.
clients, like, not only do they respond to how you show up, but I think you attract clients that are more aligned with who you are in the first place, and things like that.
That's great.
Partnerships.
So, what advice would you give to other real estate agents out there on, agents that are struggling with the up and down of this business or really feeling the stress
Yeah.
affect them and their physical health and their mental health? What advice would you give?
Um, I think, like, I am an emotional person. I mean, so it doesn't take much to knock me off or get me
Mhm,
upset, and I'm okay with that. Like, I know my emotions now, and I know it's healthy to express them.
mhm,
Um, I think that the other thing that I think is really big is a community.
mm,
So whether it is inside or outside of real estate, maybe you have a lot
mhm,
of support because you're on a team. But
mhm,
even if it's outside of real estate, like having that supportive community that you can talk to, having a couple friends you can do these practices with, like maybe
yeah,
you want a friend that you can go to a breathwork session with or go for a
mhm,
hike in nature. Nature's very calming to our nervous system.
mhm,
But some like beginner resources, obviously, like there is support at the cold plunge facility that I'm at in Westlake. You're always guided. You're supported and guided through the breath work. If you want to explore some resources on your own, where I started was Dr. Joe Dispenza.
mm,
So he has books and guided meditations that you can check out. And
mhm.
that's a lot on just taking responsibility for how we show up and knowing that you can change your life.
Yeah, because you can be a highly productive real estate agent and still be as chill as Leanne. I mean, look at her. Do you feel her energy? I feel it. Um, I was just telling her that I had so much caffeine yesterday. I was like shaking. I was like, oh, not on purpose. It was an accident. Um, but the energy that she is putting out is so powerful that I can feel it through this Zoom or computer, and it feels good, and for us to be able to control that ourselves and for us to be able to feel that way on a daily basis and work under high levels of stress or high demands in balancing your work and your life and your family and all the things that we do on a daily basis and still just have that sense of peace and calmness and joy. I mean, that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
That's the beauty. And is it perfect? Like you said at the beginning, it's never perfect. It's just an evolution, a journey, experimenting with different things. And having, one of the things I found is just having a really open mind and an open heart to say, okay, Leanne, I will go try your breath work. Let's give it a shot,
Yeah.
why not? And it's incredible when you try new things and you're exposed to new ways to take care of yourself that you've just never experienced. So I highly recommend that.
Thank you.
So, how do you see this is kind of an interesting question. How do you see the role of intuition and stress management evolving in the real estate industry?
I think it's evolving everywhere, honestly. And
Mm,
as it kind of changes the way that we speak and show up, then it's going to affect everything that we do. So I am seeing more talk about these practices, about the importance of meditation, about our nervous system.
mhm,
And like you mentioned, like 6 months ago, we probably had no idea what our nervous system was doing for us. We learned about it in school, but the truth is that it's kind of in the background controlling everything that we do. It controls the decisions we make, our responses, how we show up.
mhm,
Um, it is that fight or flight, that stress state versus relax, rest, digest. And it's useful, right? It keeps us safe. A long time ago, it let us know if there was danger, and it still does, obviously. But I think we've gotten so unregulated that we think we're in danger all the time, or our system
mhm,
does anyway,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Um, so it's really important to regulate this. And yeah, I think as we talk about this stuff more,
mhm,
and the science is coming out, and that really helps people to have the
mhm,
science. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, he does a lot of research and proves how much meditation can change your
mhm,
biology, change disease, change heart rate, blood pressure, your immune system, things like that. So that really helps people, and that helped me in the beginning too.
mhm,
And I think the biggest teller, like if people aren't sure about the state of their nervous system, or if these practices would help them, just really pay attention to your breath. There's
mhm,
so much information in your breath, and we take it for granted because it's just always there. But it really tells us so much about ourselves. So notice, like, when and where are you able to take a deep, full belly breath
mhm,
and a slow, elongated exhale? And what situations or what places is your breathing really shallow and in your chest? Excuse me. Because that is the most effective breath for our nervous system, is deep down into the belly and slow exhale. And
mhm.
so when you're able to do that, then your body's going to be in a more relaxed space. But I know for me, there's certain situations. Last week I was in Costco, and it was like apocalyptic. Like, people were angry, they were stressed, and I had to remind myself the whole way through the store to just take deep breaths. It's temporary. I'll be out of here soon, and I'll check something off my to-do list, and then I'll get to go home. So that's just like the most recent example that I have.
Costco, more more stressful than every day
I
in
should do
real
a
estate.
breathwork session in there.
You should. That'd be great. Right next to the samples.
Yeah.
So, with one last question, and then we can wrap it up. I so appreciate your time. But what do you think is the most important lesson you've learned about stress and the nervous system throughout your career in real estate, or just in general?
Hmm. It sounds so cliche, but I think the most important lesson is gratitude. Like, that
Mm,
really does get us so far.
mhm,
And like I mentioned, like when that deal was falling apart, like, I'm so grateful that I will be okay, that I can still pay
mm,
my bills, that I do have a home and a loving family, and just like appreciating what you have. I've just
mm,
recently started like a little garden, and like the joy that that brings me, just getting my hands and feet in the earth, disconnecting from phones. Like, I don't
mhm,
listen to music or podcasts or anything, just disconnecting and finding those
mhm.
little moments to be grateful and feel joy.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's always something to be grateful for.
Always.
even when it's all exploding around you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know what? One of the things that we need to realize is we've been taught and programmed that the harder we push, and you said the hustle, culture, and the more we do, the more we'll achieve. And I think that we need to have a little bit of a shift in our mentality
Mm.
that actually the more present we can be, the more focused we can be, the more we can take care of ourselves, the slower we go, the more we will achieve. Because in that, you gain clarity, you relax. I think once you're relaxed and you're meditating and you're resetting your nervous systems, the good ideas pop up, right? Um, and you think clearer
Yeah.
instead of always just being like, you have a calmer energy and you attract more clients that way. I do really believe in that. So maybe this summer, actually, I challenge you this summer to think about ways that you can take care of yourself. I do really highly recommend that you reach out to Leanne. I will put all of her contact information in the notes so that you can talk to her. She's got so many awesome resources. She'll point you in the direction of trying a cold plunge. She's an awesome coach to help you through it, and maybe even do one of her breathwork sessions as a start. And check out Joe Dispenza if you really love science and you want to learn more about the science of meditation and how it all goes together with our stress levels. And Leanne, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for
I love being in your presence. I feel calmer just for these 30 minutes with you. And you have inspired me to make sure that I continue a meditation practice. So
all right.
thank you
Awesome.
so much,
Keep
Leanne.
checking on you. You're
All
welcome.
right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.